There are about 300 million myths about Karna. Let me just do Shri Ganesh and start with. Many people think that Sanjaya was sitting by Dhritarashtra all through the 18 days, watching a live stream of the war and telling him no.
Oh my God, is this not true?
So that is one major myth about Karna.
Perfect.
Wouldn't the Anga king come and say, "Arey, how are you giving of my kingdom like parcels of brownies?"
I would like to talk about Draupadi.
Sorry.
But the reality is Draupadi was not even there when that incident happened.
Oh.
So it is Duryodhana who is the culprit. Bloodthirsty female who wants Dushasana's blood. I wanted to drink his blood. Literally, it's like that.
Bhima fills one bucket with blood and says, "Tomorrow I will join the war," and runs to Upaplavya. Does hairdressing there and comes back.
If Vyasa comes now,
Yeah.
if 100,000 verses he has written Mahabharata,
Yeah, exactly.
he has to write 200,000 verses for myths.
I know.
Yeah.
So we come with a lot of stories nowadays. Everybody is starting writing about Mahabharata. I'm very happy about it, but unfortunately there are a lot of myths getting added. So one myth I will crack probably, which people actually say, Shakuni was actually helping Pandavas. He initiated these people, Duryodhana, to be killed because he had a animosity against Duryodhana. But we know what that's a folk story added somewhere in between. The critical version never talks about. In fact, Shakuni probably has about 100 pages out of 100,000 pages. So he's not that thing. So those many keep on myths getting added. So what is one, or each of you can probably tell about one myth which is like very strong, but it's not true. And people can actually go and read the critical version if they have time and if they have the patience to learn. I think they can see this. So I'm sure you have researched a lot on Mahabharata. So please tell us one each myth where we feel like, oh my God, is this not true? Is what probably we are looking at. So Bhartiji, I'll start with you.
So one of the biggest myths that we have is that Karna was discriminated against because he was a Sutaputra. I mean, that's the basis of this whole. Karna is a very great hero and he was never given the opportunities in life and all that. There are about 300 million myths about Karna. Let me just do Shri Ganesh and start with talking about Suta. The first problem is that people don't understand who a Suta is. So there are a lot of misconceptions about that. So let me start there. A Suta is the son or a child of a Kshatriya father and a Brahmana mother.
Okay.
So to see whether Sutas as a clan or a category were marginalized, let's see what other Sutas did. So one of the most famous Sutas would be Yadu. So Yadu was the son of Kshatriya king Yayati. Devayani was a Brahmana woman, Shukra's daughter. So Yadu is the eldest son. He is of Suta origin, and from him come the Yadava clan in which Krishna and Balrama are born.
Oh.
So Suta clan. So in Krishna Balrama are obviously warrior trained.
Right.
There are several other Yadavas, Satyaki, like Deepak was mentioning, Kritavarma, 100 other Yadava warriors who are all battle trained. Satyaki, in fact, learns battle training from Drona himself initially. Okay. So Drona rejecting somebody for being Suta is ridiculous. So he didn't reject. Karna was Drona Sishya again. So that is one thing. Who was another Suta who was very famous? Adhirata, Karna's father, which is why he is Suta. Okay. Adhirata, who is Karna's father, is not a poor charioteer repairing chariot wheels. No, sorry. He is the prince of Anga. Anga Pradesh is ruled by, in some Puranas, he is called King Adhirata. In some Puranas, he is the younger prince and his elder brother rules Anga. Okay. So Anga is ruled by a Suta. So Sutas can be kings. The king of Champa is also a Suta. Sutas can be kings. Sutas can be warriors. Another warrior trained Suta is Kichaka, who is Matsya's commander, military commander.
We all know Kichaka.
Yeah, he's famous guy. So he gets killed by Bhima, and it is because he is killed that Duryodhana dares to do the attack on Matsya.
Correct.
Because Kichaka is such an experienced, battle-hardened, experienced, skilled warrior that he is the backbone of the Matsya's army. So with Kichaka killed, they know Matsya is weak. They don't know that the Pandavas are living
Suta
there.
Can be that powerful also.
Yes, Suta, Kichaka actually is Matsya. Yeah. He controls Matsya.
Right.
That's why he is able to get away with literally anything. Yeah. Kichaka's sister, Sudeshna, she is the queen. So Sutas can be queens. They can be military commanders, they can be warriors, they can be advisors. Sanjaya is a
Sanjaya.
Suta.
Oh.
Dhritarashtra fondly, with great respect, calls him, "Oh son of Suta, please tell me this." Sanjaya is a confidant of Dhritarashtra. He is his most loyal, trusted friend. Sanjaya can sit right next to him and tell Dhritarashtra to his face, "Oh, everything that you've done in your life is rubbish only. Stop first, improve your lifestyle and start thinking straight." He can get away with that. So he is such a powerful guy there. He is a Suta and he is a battle-trained warrior. Many people think that Sanjaya was sitting by Dhritarashtra all through the 18 days, watching a live stream of the war and telling him. No, Sanjaya was a Kaurava warrior battling at Kurukshetra.
He fought?
Yes, he fought. He was an active participant.
Okay.
He battled at Kurukshetra, led a contingent. He was not a foot soldier. He led a contingent. And if anybody reads the Bhagavad Gita in detail, the Bhagavad Gita Parva starts with Sanjaya rushing back to Hastinapur from the battlefield with the news that Bhishma has fallen. Dhritarashtra asks him, "How did Bhishma fall? Tell me what happened." Sanjaya goes back in flashback mode and recounts that this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened, and Bhishma fell. He goes back to war, Drona falls, he rushes back to Hastinapur. Every time the commander falls, Sanjaya rushes back to Hastinapur when he's from the battle to tell him what all happened.
It's not like live commentary.
It's not live commentary at all. So he's actively battling there. At the end, Sanjaya is actually caught and he's about to be killed by, if I remember right, Satyaki and Drishtadyumna. And Vyasa comes and says, no, let this guy go. He has to finish the last part of commentary. Please don't kill him. Let him go back and finish the last part of commentary. Okay. So that's how it happens. So Sanjaya is a Suta and he is not only a loyal confidant, he is a warrior. So battle training for Sutas was a very common thing. Nobody rejected Suta from education or battle training on basis of him being a Suta. Perfect. And as we saw, Suta was the child of a Kshatriya Brahmana parentage.
Right.
In fact, if we talk about discrimination on basis of Varna, two other examples also make a lot of sense here. Yuyutsu was the son of a Vaishya maid, like Deepak said, and he was made a regent later on by the Pandavas.
So he ruled.
Clearly, he didn't rule, he controlled
the entire
decisions,
thing.
right? So he was in a very powerful position.
Perfect.
And Vidura was the son of a Shudra. So, and Vidura was respected just like they respected Dhritarashtra or Drona or Bhishma by the Pandavas. And Bhishma and Drona also respected Vidura for his qualities and capabilities. Who he was born of had nothing to do with it.
Correct.
So that is one major myth about Karna.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think
this is why nobody objects when he walks into Rangabhumi. That is only for princes. Nobody objects when he walks in. Because Adhiratha is a close friend of Dhritarashtra's. And Anga is an ally state of Hastinapur. And Anga, his uncle, is ruling. So wouldn't the Anga king come and say, "Are, how are you giving of my kingdom like parcels of brownies to everybody? Where will I go, man?" Nobody questions, no. Because this is his nephew only. Apne family ke beech mein, it's okay, let's adjust. 2 days you rule, 2 days you rule. Anyway, Karna doesn't rule. He's mostly at Hastinapur only. So his uncle is still continuing. Only on paper, this guy is ruler.
Good. So Deepak ji, you tell us, what's the myth which we heard a lot?
I would like to talk about Draupadi.
Oh, wonderful.
Now the problem with Draupadi's portrayal is she's portrayed in many TV shows and other movies as either she's always weeping or she's extremely aggressive. Extremes
they keep.
Okay. And there is another very unfortunate thing that she is blamed for the war.
Yes.
It says that it all started because of Draupadi. Why? She laughed. Interestingly, I read a book recently. It was on Mahabharata in modern context. And the book goes on to say that she laughed at a physical disability.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, she said, as we have seen in the famous B.R. Chopra show, Ande ka putra anda.
Ande ka putra anda. Yeah.
So naturally Duryodhana was wild with anger that
that's
she called
why,
me blind.
They say it happened.
And he nursed that anger and he took revenge. That's the story.
That's the story.
But the reality is Draupadi was not even there when that incident happened. So
oh my God.
Duryodhana goes into the Hall of Illusions and he makes a fool of himself and everyone laugh at him. And he sees Draupadi in the serial. But in reality, Draupadi was not present in that particular venue. She was not at all there.
He just got fooled by himself and...
Yeah, the ones who laughed were Bhima and the twins. And Arjuna also laughs later.
Okay.
Now he goes back to his father Dhritarashtra and he says, Draupadi laughed at me.
Oh.
So it is Duryodhana who is the culprit. Now why does he do that? He wants to provoke his father.
Okay.
So that he will agree to the dice game.
Okay.
So that look at that woman, she is the wife of the Pandavas. She insulted my son by laughing at him. So I must,
Punish her or...
punish them.
Yeah.
Let's call them for the dice game and insult.
So the myth was added by Duryodhana.
Actually added by Duryodhana, and unfortunately Mr. B.R. Chopra's serial made it as though it is a real part
Real.
of the Mahabharata. So people believe that this is the real Mahabharata.
Yeah, I think every serial is doing it now.
Yes.
And every book also.
Exactly,
like what
every
you
book
said.
also. And the other myth, of course, is related to her rejection of Karna.
Yeah.
Karna comes and picks up the bow. He says, I'm going to string it. She says, I'm not going to marry a Suta.
Oh,
First of all, he's the son of a Suta.
right.
Secondly, if we look at the critical edition, now there are many editions of the Mahabharata. Now there are some conflicts in
Correct.
different versions. So generally the rule is we look at the critical edition where there is a confusion. The reason is the critical edition has been prepared by a team which worked for nearly 60 years.
Right.
So they have done a lot of work on that. So in the critical edition, this episode is not mentioned.
Okay.
Now let's look at the other editions too. Even there, where they mention this, there is an immediate conflict. Next they say Karna, they list out all those who failed and Karna's name is there.
Aha.
So when she rejected him, how could he have failed? So that incident also never happened.
Okay.
So they try to give a justification that, see, she insulted Karna's caste. So he was justified in ordering her to be disrobed.
That,
Now what kind of a justification is it? Let's assume she did it. She did not insult him on his caste in any other way.
right.
She said, I won't marry you. It's her choice whom she wants to
And
marry.
that's Swayamvara.
So Swayamvara.
And in return, he wants her to be stripped in public. What kind of a logic is this? And people justify it. And even Duryodhana. Because she laughs at him, he is ready to make all the Pandavas his slave and take over their kingdom.
The ego. Which hits
So
him back.
these are the myths and misconceptions that have come out about Draupadi and about many other characters. And another myth is that she's portrayed as some kind of, bloodthirsty female who wants Dushasana's blood. I wanted to drink his blood. Literally, it's like that. Some shows
Rakshasi.
even go to that extent.
Yeah.
So, if you have seen B.R. Chopra's serial, Bhima carries Dushasana's blood and he goes and he combs her hair. So, Draupadi's Shapatam is that I am going to leave my hair
Yeah,
unkempt.
right.
I want Duryodhana's blood like coconut oil and comb the hair. There are some stories which says you have to tie the hair, no? Because Bhima doesn't have hairband. So he takes his intestine,
Oh dear.
Dushasana's
Oh my
intestine
god.
and ties
Oh my
it.
god.
But the reality is she never took such a oath.
Wow. Okay.
Part 1. Part 2, she was not at all present in the battlefield. None of the women were available
Right.
in the battlefield. They were sitting in their kingdom.
Yeah.
Upaplavya was the kingdom
Right.
which
They were,
Virata had given,
right.
and they were all there.
They were all there.
So Bhima could not have carried blood and run all the way till Upaplavya. It was impossible.
Time, please.
And Bhima did not even drink Dushasana's blood. That is also another rumor. He pretends to drink just to create aggression.
Aggression.
Seeing that the Kauravas panic.
Hiya.
Then Gandhari questions. She says, you drank my son's blood. Are you human? He says, no, I did not do that. Not a drop of blood passed my lips. It just touches his lips. So the question of, Draupadi's hair being combed by blood, that is also false. So there are so many such misconceptions. Now these are very bad because they project Draupadi's image as negative.
Correct.
And they try to project that she is the cause of the war. No, the cause of the war is Duryodhana's ego. He was selfish. He wanted everything. That is the cause of the war. Draupadi had nothing to do with it. There is even one very, very famous book, which I will not name, which says that Karna and Draupadi were in love.
Oops.
Just imagine, he is the one who humiliated her in public.
Exactly.
He said, strip her
Yeah.
in public.
He
which
called
led
her
to
names
so
also.
many.
Yeah.
He called her a harlot.
Harlot. Yeah.
Reason is, he says, you have 5 husbands.
Yeah.
So you are a whore.
Ah.
And Karna has multiple wives.
Karna has multiple wives. And why will she fall in love with such a man?
I
There
know.
is no mention of their interaction at all in the Mahabharata.
I think.
But yet,
Yeah.
there is a book written about that.
Okay.
It's a bestseller, by the way.
Oh, that's fine.
And there are many other such books and TV shows which saying she had a soft corner.
Yeah.
In fact, they say Subhadra had a soft corner for Duryodhana.
Oh my God.
One author says Subhadra went and pleaded with Duryodhana that you spare Abhimanyu. So, these are all myths. Authors use their creative liberties to do that. Of course, freedom to express yourself is there. But there should be some limit. You cannot go against the core story of the Mahabharata.
So I think if
very sad.
Vyasa comes now,
Yeah.
if 100,000 verses he has written Mahabharata,
Yeah, exactly.
he has to write 200,000 verses for myths to break.
Yeah.
Because the kind of myths which got added to all of them, he'll be shocked.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And he has to write all of them again, write 200,000 to break that.
No, there's women weeping in the battlefield. No, there's one more story of Kunti coming to the battlefield,
Exactly.
taking Karna's body and crying over
Is it not
him.
done?
Karna died with his, first of all, there's one more story about his tooth being given and all that. His head was cut off, so his hand will be hunting for his head to find teeth, or I don't know how that happens. And Kunti cannot come because Kunti, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra are in Hastinapur during the war.
Yeah.
And these ladies, the Pandava ladies, are at Upaplavya. So they can't come to the war every day and, take a spectator seat.
It's not like
audience.
Bahubali where Ramakrishna is watching.
You can't
from
watch
that,
from the
like that.
stage and
Yeah.
do all that. So either like you were saying, Bhima fills one bucket with blood and says, tomorrow I will join the
I'll
war,
come
and
back
runs
to
to
you.
Upaplavya, does
Comes there
hairdressing
and
there
then
and
comes back.
comes back.
I know it takes a lot of time for us to break this myth, but I think one step at a time if we start. Thanks
Yeah.
for all of people like you, authors who are. First thing what you all do is you go research. That's where it comes, the authenticity of you talking, like why people or anybody who's listening to us, why should they believe is the authenticity which you have created by research which you did on Mahabharata, and then you wrote a book. I'm not just calling you just because you are friends and like, okay, let us talk today about Mahabharata. I feel Karna is not great or bad. You've done a lot of research. You published 2 books on it. And that's where the authenticity comes. And thanks very much for coming and giving this to us.
Dharma speaks.